I want when you listen to Yaksta, is either you learn something, you feel something, or it becomes joy. So when you do music and you do these type of songs, people deliberately buy you gift like Louis V and all that stuff just to just cause mischief. You know that people like propaganda, and I like solace.
Wha Gwaan Munchy.
Miss Munchy, what we tell him?
I hear me, Miss Munchy. People lock with Munchy.
Miss Munch! Are you run the thing, so watch you now?
You know me, I say Munchy.
Yell up Munchy. Wha Gwaan Munchy.
Reggaeville family, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Wha Gwaan Munchy, and you cannot even imagine how excited I am because first of all, I get to do a real interview again with an actual person right there. Plus, I'm back in Kingston, Jamaica, and I have with me one of my favorite artists. So welcome to Wha Gwaan Munchy, Yaksta the Bush Lad.
Love and love alive.
How is everything, sir?
Well, you know, everything have its ups and downs, but it's more, I'd say more blessed.
Yeah?
Yeah.
More on the upside?
Upside, than the down. Some days we have the ups days and downs days, like, but you don't know, well, let's give it thanks. You know?
Yeah, man, that's how it goes sometimes, you know. Yeah, man, you have to give thanks same way.
Yeah.
Outside Again, I just mentioned My Spirit. You just released the single Outside Again, produced by the Jugglerz.
Yeah.
What were you longing to do when you would be able to be finally back outside again, or what was a place where you wanted to be, or a thing you wanted to
Well,
do?
in truth and in fact, you see, even though Jamaica was closed, we're still hoping for we, you know, because we still go outside at daytime. It's just like at night, there wasn't much entertainment and, you know, certain things were cramped. And even though, you know, it's just Jamaica, people now want to do those then look at illegal parties, you know, to keep promoting their music. But for me personally, it was just touring, you know, getting to interact with people now, seeing where I'm at actually in my career, see what I need to do, what I need to work on, because, you know, consciousness back in the 90s and consciousness in the 22nd century, our decade, or what I want to say, is not really the same thing, because people is much more into vibe. You know, it's only when they need a sense of solace they will actually revert back to what we're actually doing. So we have to keep doing the mixture, you know, even though we do actual conscious dancehall and reggae, you know, because, you know, many people might just say reggae, but I'm a little bit of both. You know, and yeah, for me personally, it's just exploring now. Time to just go over the world, go sing for people and some style. You know,
See. And what you're singing for the people, what you're DJing for the people, by what is that inspired? Like
just life. It's like personally, Yaksta is just always about just speaking on his behalf. You know, I can't speak on your behalf. It's just you have to actually understand what I'm about and see if what I'm actually putting out has the right message for you. You know, some days I get up, I just feel like I just want to sing about a bird. Next day I feel like I'm going to go and sing about something I see, maybe violence or go on and sing about it. And next day I just sing a joyful song. You know, so I'm not really a one-dimensional or one-track-minded artist. And hence, it may be hard, you know, because we have to do so much work, but nonetheless, it's a part of the package, you know. So for me, Munchy, when there's a single come to my mind, yeah, man, it has to be myself, yeah.
you know what I really enjoy about your music and your lyrics is that it really gives me a picture in my head. When I listen to your songs, I can literally imagine how your whole house door because that Uptown Rebels wardrobe, or how your granny old shop turned Airbnb and those things, you know. When did you first start writing texts or lyrics? Or
When I was young, my cousin used to naturally be the writer. Though. Like I would give him the lyrics, and because I could not read until I was about 13.
Oh, okay.
You know, I was not literate until I was about 13. Hence, I was very good at art. I was very good at remembering things. I was always good at drama and music and all that stuff. But I just couldn't read. I didn't know what. But when I turned like 12 or so, I went to my aunt and we spent like 3 weeks or maybe 3 months. And after that, everything just flew. It was like out the gate. And from that, I was in grade 7, grade 8. It was just all about knocking decks and just doing like some little knickknacks. But when I touched about grade 9, that's when certain things started, spiraling. And when I left school, I started my own business, walking and selling clothes alongside my sister. And then that was just not working out. I found a girlfriend at the time, on the verge of impressing that your partner. I left my own business to work for somebody else's that was not fulfilling. So I left from there. I got fired at the first job, and then the second one, I went to Montego Bay. I still, and then one day I just got up and said, alright, that's it. But I had met Sanjay already, which is my current manager now, and we just worked together for 6 years until last year was actually the debut on the platform of Jamaica. But I got a debut already in 2019.
Excellent.
You know, and Boogie Woogie and all those songs was a little bit of additives and sparks and splashes that really and truly bring me around the terrain of what Reggaeville and the Rhythm magazine, because all those folks posted me long before I actually got the breakthrough. Even you guys had some songs on your like the channel long before, but it's like I was not there yet. So it would be like maybe one of the archive artists until then. But yeah, I'm just grateful, you know.
When did it manifest to you personally that you would say, okay, I'm gonna achieve a career in music? Because you mentioned life wasn't easy at all times, and a career in music is nothing that you just do easily, you know?
You see, it's like you have to know. It's almost like when you actually get the breakthrough, right? You won't be the artist that is always current unless you do certain things to stay current. People like propaganda, and I like solace. You know, I like to be joyful. And apparently, these times, my generation, they appreciate good things less because all they're taught is the bad. You know, and it's just the ingredients of what the media and everything else around us is actually feeding us now. It's almost like we were born pure, but becomes like living poison. You know, so it's like a career sometimes is a compulsory state of mind or thought, because you have to actually conceive it mentally to actually receive it physically. But it's also something that you cannot really count on when it comes down to art, because in the art field there's a lot of artists, and every single body has talent. You can be a non-artist these days and becomes like a world star because of automation. You can just know how to sound good, and somebody writes for you, and you become that mega star. As long as you have the confidence to talent in front of people and actually, you know, project that. So for me personally, I would say I knew that I was actually a star from I was a kid. I was always the odd kid. I was always into drama. I was always in drama, like some fight or something. I was always, you know, I was always there. Everyone knows me in every school that I ever went to. I was always popular, you know. I was always that person that always pushed the peace, even though I got myself in another fight. You know, so, and I'm very popular in my community. You know, not for the bad things, but always just by sometimes rolling alone. Sometimes I get myself in problems, but it was mostly because of how I actually maneuver. You know, it was always because of the sedative aura that many people might say. But to be honest, I knew this was coming. And I know greater things is actually coming. I'm just patiently waiting and putting out the right music, because sometimes you might put out good music after that debut or that success, and they don't really hit the target that you want. But a bone and arrow is not always accurate. But when it becomes accurate, it never misses the target, you know. So you have to just learn along the way.
Was it rough sometimes during the pandemic, knowing the potential is there, the will is there, but somewhat through the global situation, you're kind of limited in moving forward the way you would want to?
Yeah, it's guys, there's just like a lot of ignorance when it comes down to like not getting a chance to actually express yourself at that opportune time. But who said it was actually an opportune time? I think the opportunity is always now. Because sometimes you don't really need 10 or 15 hits, you need a good catalog. Sometimes one hit is good enough to actually take you through your career. And you just keep building on fan base. You have some people just come today, and by tomorrow they exceed you in a blink of an eye. But those people sometimes don't even last for a lifetime. Because how long a violent song can play for, how long certain type of sex music will actually be played for, unless you sing that sexual song very sensual, and it becomes a classic sexual song. Because yeah, sex is relative. You know, everyone likes sex. Me like sex, you like sex. You know, it's just the reality of life. Anyone says that they don't, they're lying. Because we're human beings, we're sexual beings, and we're sexually driven. But it's like, when I look at all these things, I just know that every single thing is relative. You know? Yeah.
All right. Yaksta the Bush Lord. We will talk about his music and his history more in just a few from now. But of course, I mentioned the outside again, which is out since March 25th. You can check out that. Enough more music is out already from Yaksta, but also would like to recommend some other great recordings that had just been released. We have already the showcase album that Earl 16 just dropped, Moving Forward, and this week Friday Horace Andy is gonna present to us Midnight Rocker. Both of the records are out digitally, and this is why I'm saying this in particular, they're out on vinyl as well, so for all the collectors you can get that actually physically to grab with your hands. And also an ex-sister from Trinidad, Jalifa, she dropped her EP The Ancient Rocks on April 1st, and from that is her single Hear Ya that she premiered with us on Reggaeville.
Who comfort conquering to conquer who will see Oja. Revelation chapter 6 it show us plainly Jah. He ride up on the heavens by his name Oja. Philistia and Tyre with Ethiopia. Oh Lord, excellent is see Oja. Lord of the abyss and heaven see Oja. Rastafari mean a creator. Him a the globe, the scepter, protector. Yeah, almost hail the king. Hail Selassie I the king. Yeah, almost hail the king. Hail Selassie I the king.
Reggaeville family, Wha Gwaan Munchy. Yaksta is with us, the Bush Lad, and we spoke about the history and the journey to the point where he is today already. I would like to take it back a little bit still though. You mentioned already how you grew up in a childhood and so forth. Tell me a bit more about Kamal Martino Martin. Where was he born? How was his childhood, his upbringing like?
Well, I was actually born in a small parish called St. Mary. Yeah, that is in country, as everybody know. I grew up there, you know. My mom raised 10 kids, 3 of which is hers. The next 7 was for her sisters.
Oh, okay, wow.
You know, so it's like, my dad was not really present, but nonetheless he's a good dad. I think that back then he was just misled, you know, a good person. He was rough, you know, but country is a place that is very mystical. Even though there's a lot of like, the typical carbon barrel mentality, as we normally say. There was much more to be given than take. I had the beach at my disposal. I just jump out of my house and go to the beach. I have rivers there. There was always like banana trees and all this stuff. You know, my grandfather had a big farm, which I actually worked on. You know, and got my little thing going. My mom was basically a domestic lady. She never really had a 9 to 5. I never saw her in like a job. I was the last straw before she stopped working, because when she had me, she never went back to no 9 to 5. She stayed home and and her brothers and sisters assist her while she raised their kids, which is a blessing. But I think that sometimes it kind of, when she looked back at her life, I think those things kind of messes with her head, you know, because sometimes she might make slight remarks that she could have done more with her time in life, you know. So that's where I come in to actually redeem her of that grid, you know, that grid of confusion. But yeah, for me, it was always getting myself into problem by stealing out the yard to go to the park. You know, we played as kids. It was always an active community. You know, like there was always dances. There was just always dead yards. It was always a vibrant. When I was a kid, it was much more vibrant than now. Now it's very quiet. You know, like everyone grew up and having their own family. You know, everyone becomes an adult in their 30s, going 40s now. We were like the kid pack after the kid pack, if you get me. You know, so it's like, now it's just, Here's was a wonderful place, and still is a wonderful place. St. Mary's all, like Cox Street, big up Bridgefoot, you don't know, that's my place. Yeah.
And this is Port Maria we're talking about, where you are from?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, the capital.
Capital, right? You know, the actual town. It's like you don't have to drive out the town to actually find where I'm at. Like everyone knows where I live.
And do you still live there? And do you still do farming there?
All right, the farm, no. The first farm that I had, there was a little bit of problem, so I had to just give it up and leave. But we just newlywed got back a new land, fencing around and building up back a barn. So by now in 6 months' time, I'm up and running with that again, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this is very interesting though, because it's not like you're just singing the farm and all of that.
No, it's
you're
like
actually living up to that.
it's
right?
like the thing with it's like when I actually made that song, I just started though. I'm very young at it, you know. But you know, sometimes what I've seen, like when you do certain stuff like that and people don't see you, they think it's some form of fiction, you know.
Yeah.
But I've learned like along the way that sometimes when you're doing marvelous things, you keep it at the side of people. The ones who need to know will know. I brought a few individuals there, you know, and you could just see the jealousy. You get me? Because in their mind, it was just music.
Yeah.
You know. And guess what I've learned? Like when you're doing music and you do these type of songs, people deliberately buy you gift like Louis V and all that stuff just to just cause mischief. You know that? Like I've gotten so much like different gifts. So I'm like, and I'm saying, let me see if I can wear it now. But no, I just give it to somebody else. You know? Because I don't really need it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I'm comfortable with wearing these kinky clothes, as easy to call it. You know? That's just me. I'm just free spirited, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, you've been in fashion, so you must know what
you know,
looks nice.
You just match some stuff
regardless
together.
of brand or whatever.
Yeah, you know? Because it's not really the brand make you look good. You make the brand look good, you know? Yeah, you get me? Yeah, Munchy.
So what you grow there on the farm, or what is going to grow?
All right.
Just start again.
The one that was there, I was actually focusing on doing like almonds. That was my main focus. But we also did catch crab, and there was like there still is a banana farm, like a good maybe 1 or 2 acres of it. Yeah, that was I never planted those though, so I'm not going to take credit. That's for my uncle. But even them moving to different areas to farm because of the water situation. But what I did there was like we had sweet pepper, we had pimento, we had turpentine. I was left that out in the interview. Thyme was there as well. We were actually thinking of doing mangoes, but because Kingston could have, we could just travel to yard and get all of the right mangoes. We never had to plant because there were so much trees already in Jamaica supplying, you know. So all those stuff was actually there in kettles. We had like a lot of, I still have the kettles, them still big up all them goat them. Yeah.
See? So as you can see, the man is actually ever outside. He's not just singing that, he's living up to that. And other people who also got to go outside again and celebrate reggae music all over the world were also the people in Colombia from Bogota. They got to go to La Media Torta and they celebrated live performances with Inc and Mellow Mood. Our reporter Lena, she was on site and she was catching vibes for us. So we spoke so much about your history, about the parish that you come from, St. Mary, your Brom, and when I read your captions on the social media, I see a hashtag a lot which says 2022 EP. So I figure we're gonna get some more music this year. Can you tell me a bit what are the plans for releases?
2022 definitely means balance.
Okay.
And the O is the egg, the ovary of everything. So, you know, in order to actually create a human being, it needs two. Any form of life, even in a cell where it generates its own self, it needs two neurons or neutrons or whatever you want to call it to actually duplicate. And when it duplicates, it's always going to two. If you look at the leaf, the strands, they come in pairs of two. Just look at it. It's always in the pair of two. You have two fingers, two hands. Your pores all comes in two. You have two eyes, two eyelashes, two this, two nostrils, two lips, two rows of teeth, each in two. Two ears, two cochlea, every single thing is two, male and female. The two boobs, two ovaries, two seed sac. Even the split of the vagina is always in two. Every single thing comes in two. So it's like the 22 is the year of balance. 2022 is the year of unity. You understand? The 2022 just means balance, a year of blessing. You know, it's my year. You get me? Yeah, and you can look for the EP.
Alright.
So exclusively you got to know.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. We have something to look forward to, but we have something already because you just dropped a single, Honest, also with the Jugglerz. And the interesting thing about it is that it came together with an NFT.
Yeah.
Which was sold out within just 4 hours.
Yeah.
Big up on that. For all those who don't really get to understand what it is about and how it works, explain to them what they were able to buy.
So bids basically, it's, for instance, when two entity comes together, Jugglerz and Yaksta, Jugglerz are the producers, I'm the artist. We put this up so that the fan who love Yaksta music can actually get to own a percentage of what I'm doing, right? So if that song sells, you get to earn along with Yaksta for 4 years. You understand?
Okay.
So it's either it's an investment into an artist that you love,
Okay.
and of such we share an art that you can own something of. And if you want to continue buying to that song, it's always an option to keep buying and purchasing and purchasing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing more NFTs while I'm putting out to my fans so that they can actually have more access to what I'm doing.
Okay.
You know? So all these things is just sharing, and I think people need to get into NFTs and virtual currencies and so forth. Since the whole stardom thing, I kind of slack off a slight because I have to be doing so much. But I still have somebody monitoring all that stuff for me. It's a big up topic. You know yourself.
So it's like they're buying a share, so to speak, like on the stock market or
So basically they
once it's tuned
hits, they earn.
They also get the percentage.
Yeah, so it's either if the song hit, they earn it, and if it don't hit, they still earn slowly. So if you buy for $1 per se, and the song makes $10, I will get maybe $7 along with me and Jugglerz, and then the next $3 go to all the individuals who actually bought. And the more the song grows, the more money they earn for the 4 years.
Okay, and the NFT is like the unique key to actually access that possibility.
So you get to buy 30% of that song. We could even make it more like 60 or 50 or 40 and maybe the 100%. But we just try to 30.
It's not that easy because it was sold out within 4 hours. So apparently everyone want get piece of Yaksta right now.
Well,
so
it's a reality, you know.
It's a challenge, if you can get one little piece.
No, but guess what? I will be doing more though.
Okay, alright, so next time you can get my share then.
You can't get to buy a piece, you know? So yeah, Munchy want to buy a piece of the NFT same, you know? Yes, sir.
See, alright, so keep me posted, I'm gonna follow that, and next time I get a chance, I'm gonna buy myself into that
I'm gonna put up some more, man, so that you guys can actually see, because I have tons of songs but guess what? I don't want the music to be boring. I want when you listen to Yaksta, is either you learn something, you feel something, or it becomes joy. Because everyone is always singing destruction. Not saying that it is not necessary, because at some point I realized even the most conscious individual like to have that little adrenaline, of boastful energy that most like gangster music normally does to people. Everyone likes it, even the female. And the females are much more lovers of those things, even more than male, because a female energy pushes music way faster than a man one. You agree?
I have to think about it.
You have more female fans than male. And when you have more female fans than the male fans, your songs grow faster. TikTok comes from the female.
Yeah?
Females are the one that bust most of the music.
Okay.
You know, just look at it. Because when a female do love her artist, she supports.
Yeah, well, they are more passionate about things.
About things.
That's true.
They express more. You know, they vlog, they do this with their phones. Recently men start following, but even so, the females still outdo them, because that's more like effeminate energy. Yeah. So yeah.
It's more about the heart,
Art
more about
and,
the emotional.
Men hide their
aspect of
emotions
things.
most times
That's
and
true.
pretend to be tough.
All right, so you have a lot to look forward to. We have a lot to look forward to from you as well. I really want to thank you for taking the time, speaking to me about your history and your music and the projects coming up. So for all of that, I wish you all the very best, and thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you.
Miss Munchy. Yeah? Big up, man. Big up Munchy, big up Reggaeville. If it's not Reggaeville, it's not reggae. I'm out.
Wha Gwaan Munchy.